So surprisingly, a lot of you have been requesting already a new Dogmatika list, and this time you guys want the one without Maximus, and of course, I'm here to deliver. What's going on, you guys? Slim here to show you guys exactly what I just said. Updated build of Dogmatika invoked, but we're not actually playing Maximus in the main deck. Now I know this for some reason is a very controversial topic. If you're a Dogmatika player, do you play Maximus in the main deck? Do you play it in the side deck? Do you worry about the mirror match? Do you not worry about the mirror match? That's really up to player preference, to tell you the choice. I actually featured this deck already over on Crush Cards channel, so be sure to check that out. Shout out to Brian and Logan, you guys are the best. I talked about this deck. I got inspiration from the list that made top 8 at the latest LCS 5 by I guess the DN name is Mount Fuji, whatever it was an awesome list. I think their list was perfect. I actually net decked it. I'm just going to tell you guys straight up, I net decked it because it actually seemed perfect to me. I only made changes really in the extra deck just based on personal preference. I think that a lot can be taken away from that list, something to learn, especially if you're playing a lot of the mirror match. So again, we only have online events, but one thing that was proven is that the Dogmatika cards are everywhere. So what you do in this build is you omit Maximus from the main deck, you put it in the side deck. So in the side deck, I have 3 copies in the side deck right now. The reason is you don't want to go in and just kind of get screwed for playing the mirror match. Now I know most people are going to argue, well, if they have it, they have it. They better have it. They better be playing Dogmatika too. Same rules apply. But I know you guys wanted to see, okay, well, what if I don't want to play Maximus? What if I want to just play basically the Dogmatika engine? What can I do? What can I establish with it? And that's what I hope this profile does. So hopefully you guys will enjoy. You guys already know, you're new here, consider subscribing, notification bell. Whenever I upload, Twitch, use the TCG player link, all that stuff's in the description. Didn't really say it in the beginning, doesn't really matter. I really want you guys to just see this list. It's pretty straightforward and to the point. I think that you guys will learn a lot just from seeing what you do when you cut Maximus out of the main deck and give you more room for hand traps. And we actually did change some of our lineup as well, but hopefully you guys do enjoy. Disclaimer, not a budget deck, unfortunately. I'll mention the budget options you guys do have, but for now, for the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh scene, if you're playing online, there's no budget, so it doesn't matter. Just get your digital cards. They cost nothing, so pay no attention to how expensive this deck may be. Just get the digital cards online. You don't have to pay nothing. It's awesome. But if you do, use my TCG player link. You guys already know. So I've got, of course, Triple Alistair, the All-Star. You already know you have to play this as your one-card engine. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. Probably in 1 year, how this is just one card Macabre does everything for you. The Dogmatika engine, though, basically is just these 5 cards for monsters. So you have the 3 Ecclesia and the 2 Fleur-de-Lis. So Ecclesia is obvious. It just is your Stratos. It starts everything. Fleur-de-Lis is awesome. Being able to either add it to your hand off of Titanclad or being able to add it to your hand off of Ecclesia is great. It just becomes an interruption on your opponent's turn. I think the most important thing about this card is its boost. Its boost is insane. Its boost helps you win the game. Literally off of a Macabre, Ecclesia, Fleur-de-Lis, with the Alistair, I believe that's game. It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of things you can do just with these cards alone, and I think this Dogmatika engine, if you decide to cut out Maximus, which is the main goal with this list, this will be your lineup. Ecclesia, I feel, is a staple at 3, and then Fleur-de-Lis is 1 to 2. It's just optional. I personally just really like 2. 3 just doesn't work for me. I haven't seen any lists that play 3. 1 is fine too, but I think 2 is just the sweet spot, so that's why we're playing that exact lineup. That really hasn't changed. You guys should know from our previous list that hasn't changed. And then the monster that was the weirdest to me until I tested it out, I even said this when I first profiled the deck, the player that played this deck also had this in the main deck as their last kind of tech monster, and it was 1 copy of Prankatops. I know what you guys are thinking. Okay, this deck wants to go first, obviously. This deck can play going first, which is great. However, this deck can also play going second, and Prankatops is one of those cards that, okay, going first, it really doesn't do anything, but going second, it gives you that option. Now, I wasn't understanding why they chose to keep this, but the thing is, okay, going first, all you really do is kind of establish a Macabre, maybe an Ecclesia, and you set your traps and you go. The thing with Prankatops is, depending on if they do anything to your board, you can capitalize with Prankatops. I like the fact that they chose to main deck it because, again, you're not guaranteed to always go first in this game. You need a versatile going second card, and the thing is, this card's at 1. You usually would put it in your side deck, so if you don't play it in your main deck, you put it in your side deck. So I thought about cutting this and playing Upstart, but then I realized the problem with Upstart was that if I give them that extra 1,000 points, the OTK that I was telling you guys, where basically you have Macabre plus Alistair plus Fleur-de-Lis plus Ecclesia with the boost and everything, you actually can't kill them. And that's the only problem I had, so that's why I decided to omit Upstart. And this card, I'm telling you, test it out more. You guys will see what I'm saying. I was skeptical at first, thinking, okay, this card is only good going second, and obviously you only really capitalize on it going second, but when you lose those die rolls and you can start with this, like, this card is just insane. So another thing to remember is this is very good against Numeron as well. You just special summon this into Zexal, run it over because it goes to 2,000 from 3,000, and then literally if they try to network you again, you just pop the network. So once that was brought to my attention, I said, you know what, I think it's worth including it in the main deck. So shout out to Mount Fuji for that. That was just a really good explanation, and it definitely sold me on playing the card. And then the hand traps of choice, of course, are just very standard, the Ash Blossoms and then the Gamma Driver package. So right now, Ash is still the most generic hand trap, and I think Gamma is the best hand trap. Not being able to call by the grave to Gamma is great. Not only that, this card just catches anything, and you decide when you want to trigger it. I think this card has multiple functions, because going first, say we activate Meltdown, if our opponent does try to Ash us, being able to chain Gamma and then make an Omega and rip another card is absolutely crazy. We play Omega, of course, for the Titanclad dump and for like other stuff like that, like our graveyard food off of like our Nadir Servant, but the fact that you can make Omega too is crazy. Again, I just think this is the best hand trap. Being able to catch anything is fantastic. It gets the problem off the board, and I think this is, right now, I think this and Permanence are the best hand traps, so I feel you should be playing the Gamma Driver package. It's also a light from Akaba, so there's always been synergy there since day one. And that's it for the monsters. Very low monster count. We're not playing Maximus and stuff, so we just keep it very standard with just a little more hand traps. Spells are just very standard. The Meltdowns, of course, to get Alistair, and only 2 copies of Invocation. We forego Desires in this deck. One thing that was brought to my attention too is if you're playing Desires, you have to change your ratios. Obviously, you guys saw the first list where we had like 2 Maximus and we upped our counter cards, 3 Invocations, etc., etc. But the beauty of this is we decided to forego Invocation, of course, for a more expensive draw card. Surprise, surprise. But for the time being, I think that as long as you're not playing Desires, you can get away with 2 Invocation. It's recyclable, and that way you don't dead draw any copies because you're not scared of banishing it because you're not playing Desires. So, of course, our starter card. This card is just amazing. This is like the card. Like being able to send a Titanclad, being able to send honestly anything. Being able to even send your Apocalone in order to get your Shadol Schism is fantastic. You still are able to do that play even without Maximus in the deck. You can still do plays like that. So I really love this card. I think this card is just like insane. This card is like the bread and butter of the deck for the Dogmatika engine. Like you include the Dogmatika engine anywhere, you play 3 copies of that. It's fantastic. Now the expensive groaning cards that are coming in. Our draw card of choice has switched to triple tactic talents, so the reason why, now I need you guys to understand this. I know this card is expensive. You play online, it's not expensive. Just saying. That's one option, but here's the real reason. Dragoon of the Red. Yeah, that bastard's coming out. And what's going to happen when everyone in their mom is making Dragoon? They're going to negate something, and then you know what? You slap down triple tactic talents, and you either draw 2 cards, rip a card out of their hand, or the smart effect, you take their bastard Dragoon. You take their Dragoon, and you link it away. You use its effect to pop some of their cards. You link it away, and it's crazy. I know this card is expensive. I talk about it all the time. I think you guys need to pick this up, though. Probably along with this other card. I know you guys are going to groan. Triple for Forbidden Droplets. So I think right now these 2 cards are going to really interact in the format. Now a lot of people were not utilizing this card, but trust me, as the format continues, more people are going to pick up on this card. Again, as soon as Dragoon comes out and more negates happen, people are going to play this card. Basically, it's Pot of Greed or it's whatever you want. Obviously, it has 3 ban card effects, and Forbidden Droplets is just a better Dark Ruler no more. Now, I know what you guys are saying, Slim. I don't care, I want to build the deck in real life. What are my budget options? Pot of Desires, Dark Ruler no more, or Forbidden Chalice. There you go. Play Upstart if you want, but I think right now these are just the best, some of the best cards in the game. If you can afford them, get them using my TCG player link. You already know. But the thing is, these cards are really format defining. And again, if you're only playing online, then don't buy these cards. Just play online. It's free. Like, just remember that. So I know you guys may groan at this, but think about it. If you're playing online, you can build whatever you want. I just want you guys to see the real cards. That's it. So I think these cards are amazing. If you can pick them up, do it. If you're playing online, you'll have access to them regardless, but they really make a huge difference in this deck. And I think Droplets is just an amazing card overall. It just helps you so much. You can also send Alistair, which is fantastic to help it resolve and also to set up your Invocation plays. I think Droplets is just amazing in this deck. And then so everything resolves with 3 Call by the Grave. I say this every deck profile. This card is good going first and going second. Versatile going first to stop hand traps, anything that gets in our way. Going second, it can be an interruption on something our opponent's trying to do. So yeah, that card's just busted. And then our last spell, of course, Terraforming, because we want to get to Alistair as much as possible. 4 copies of Meltdown is always better than 3. And then our traps, so triple Imperm. I already mentioned this is probably the next best hand trap in the game. Card is great. You draw it as your 6th card. You can turn off a problematic card. The exact sole card's amazing. The thing I really liked from the list I saw, and we decided to test it out, was we upped it to 2 Dogmatika punishment. So basically the goal with the deck is you summon a Macabre, you set up an Ecclesia, you set up a punishment, and you interrupt your opponent's turn with this. Their turn basically ends because you can interrupt them with this plus Macabre, so you basically have 2 negates plus hand traps. Then when it goes back to your turn, if you summon the Fleur de Lis, you attack with everything, you give the boost, you give the Alistair boost, and it's game. So this card is amazing. Not only that, you're being able to send whatever you want, either it's Titanclad or you send your Elder Entity. The card just does a lot. So I really like this card. Upping it is definitely a thing. People talked about even playing 3 so that you open it so you don't have to search it. You can search floor, but I really like this card. I think this card is amazing. So this card was really underrated. At 1, it's great. At 2, I think it's even better in this particular deck since we're not playing Maximus. And the last card, if you didn't guess it, of course, is Schism in order to make the win on our opponent's turn. You do that against the Rock deck, they basically lose. So it's fantastic. That's the main deck though. 40 cards. Maximus free, you already know. Extra deck real quick for you guys. Double Macabre. I still play 2. Now the thing is, the only reason I play 2 is because we're still playing the Nova. I'll tell you right now, if I wasn't playing Nova, I probably would cut this to 1. The reason is, if people read Punishment, when you're trying to end on Macabre Punishment, once you resolve Punishment, you can't summon from the extra deck even during your next turn. So you lose a whole nother turn. You're not going to make the second Macabre with Alistair. So I can see the reason for only playing 1. However, since we are playing Nova, if our opponent is playing Maximus, does make us send our Nova, we can summon one of our Macabres and then still make one with Alistair. So that's the only reason that there's 2. And then the same guys, Purgatrio and Agodius, they're just good. They both come up, obviously, to OTK, and also can help you OTK. People forget Agodius can get huge, so that card's great. Our Shaddoll engine, of course, is always going to stay the same. I don't think this will ever change. Pick up a structure deck, you get all 3. App Cologne to send the Schism, Construct to add back the Schism, and you make the window off the Schism. You can also make Construct. I made Construct during the game. It was crazy. So that's it for that. And then our only links are, of course, to make our 1-card Macabre play. Don't really need to explain that. You guys already know. And then our graveyard food is, as always, double Titanclad. So I still play the second one. I like the second one for grinding games. Even though you can OTK your opponent, sometimes it doesn't happen, so you have to be prepared for a longer game. So having a second Titanclad is great. 2 copies of Elder Entity, that's standard. You just send that for disruption. The Omega, because it helps us recycle. You can also make it off the Gamma Driver package. And the Nova for the mirror match, because even though we are not playing Maximus, we don't know if our opponent's playing Maximus. And if they are, we want to capitalize that and summon a Macabre for free. But that is it, you guys. I really hope you guys did enjoy the deck profile. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts. Do you prefer to play the build with Maximus or without Maximus? I personally, I'm kind of torn. I like them both. I think they're both really good. However, I can understand why people are uncertain if they should be main decking Maximus in this format or if they should be playing the deck a little safer. It's completely up to you. Do whatever you want, whatever makes you comfortable playing this deck. Just know that the deck is very versatile, and that's what I really like about it. Maximus or no Maximus, this deck will definitely be doing more and more things in this format. I know the Eldritch deck is a really good build of this. Unfortunately, we don't have the real cards. If you guys do want to see a build of that, though, I might be able to find someone to record, to profile it for me, or I might be able to put it online. Just really depends on what you guys want to see. But hopefully you guys did enjoy. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know your thoughts on Dogmatika Invoked continuing on in this format. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.